Yeah.
And you thought Audi's only understeer, right?
Not really.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This new Audi RS5 may have just joined the ranks of the greatest Audis of all time. Lately, I had started to lose faith in German performance sedans. I felt like they were trying too many things, not always sticking the landing, and in almost every way they just weren't as convincing as previous generations. But the new RS5 has restored my faith, and then some. It's completely bowled me over. Now, when I said earlier that I've become a little bit disillusioned with modern performance cars, there's a lot of factors to that, and a very big important one is design, because really the first impression even a performance car has to make is with the way it looks. It has to be good on a poster and it has to make you go wow. But have you seen modern cars in general, and performance cars especially? I feel they've lost all sense of proportion and they're just dramatic for the sake of being dramatic. But not this one. This one they have absolutely nailed. Now the A5 on which it's based is a great base to start from, because that is a well-proportioned, well-thought-out design that brings the modern Audi design language into the fore but makes it very recognizable as an Audi all the same. And with the RS5, they've just dialed it up in the best possible way without corrupting it whatsoever. Now, I do have a soft spot for the Avant or the station wagon, but sadly that won't be coming to India. We'll get the sedan, and even this, it just looks amazing. Now, it's got great proportions, like I said. The roof flows down into the tail and it bulges in all the right places, being an RS car, of course. But we've got to start by talking about this gigantic grille. It is huge. It's got this sort of diamond pattern for the grille, and the traditional RS badge is back. You've got these huge intakes on either side, and they are sort of indexed by these what they call camouflage carbon fiber accents. That's an option that you get on either side, and there's some of it on the inside too. The headlamps, they're matrix LEDs of course, but they are blacked out and they've got this pattern in the DRLs that resembles a checkered flag. You can change that. There are 8 different designs to choose from, in fact. Now, we got to talk width, and this one is a full 9 centimeters wider than the standard A5, and it really shows. I mean, normally the bodywork is in line with the headlamps over here, but look how much further out it sticks. It really bounces off and gives you that low squat stance. Now, filling up these bulged wheel arches really nicely are a set of 21-inch wheels, which Audi says are among the largest you can get in this segment of car. Inside those wheels are optional carbon ceramic brakes, and the design, I think, is very attractive. Now, interestingly, the wheel sizes aren't staggered front to rear as they are in a lot of performance cars. They are the same size, but it's a massive 285/30 R21. Those are really wide tires, especially up at the front. But I guess you need something that wide to put all this performance down to the road. Now, as we move back here, you can see again the effect of that chunky wheel arch, the width of the front coming out here in this vent that lets out hot air from the front wheel arches. Over to the back, as I said before, the roofline really slams down to the tail. As you can see, it literally goes all the way to the end of the car, and that just shows you that this is more of a sportback in design, although it is a conventional sedan in the way its doors are laid out. But what I find most interesting is this. A lot of car makers, when they make a wider body, they sort of do it beyond the rear door so that they can save costs and use the same rear door as the standard car, but not Audi. The bulge at the back, and what a bulge it is, it starts on the door itself. So this car has a different door from the A5. And yeah, because this is a plug-in hybrid, that's not the fuel cap, that's the charging port. Now somehow to me, the rear looks even more aggressive than the front. This is not an Audi you want to be tailgating. It starts of course with that added width which really adds to the stance, but there are lots of great details as well. It starts up top with this spoiler, which is functional by the way. and it is finished here in that camo carbon. Down here you have more of the camo carbon as well. There's also this chunky light bar with OLED elements, as you can see in the checkered flag pattern, which can also be altered like the headlamps to show different patterns back here. But really, I think you and I can both agree that the real party piece down here are these exhausts. They are massive ovals. They're set a little inboard compared to the previous cars, and there's a bit of diffuser around them as well. Nothing says aggression like those gigantic sports exhausts finished in matte black sticking out the back over there. But I want to hear from you. What do you think about the way this brand new Audi RS5 looks? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Somewhere in between? Let us know down in the comments. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. We'd really appreciate that. And if you haven't done so already, do subscribe to the Autocar India channel. Now, in my opinion, the interior is nowhere near as successful as the exterior. And that's because this general new direction that Audi has gone with for all of its cars just feels a little bit too ordinary compared to the designs that went before it. Of course, that means screens. There are these two gigantic screens in this binnacle. While the shape is quite interesting, it curves in front of you. I just feel like it's too much of bezel around the screen, this black sort of plastic underneath the glass. It just doesn't feel classy enough. In the RS5, the passenger screen is standard. It's not an option like it is in the lesser cars. And I'll get to a few of the other RS embellishments in a bit. But overall, this interior, just though it has a lot of high quality materials, doesn't feel quite as classy or understated as Audis of old. And call me nostalgic, but I think that's necessary in a luxury car. But yeah, apart from that, what they've done with this RS version has really helped things along. This steering wheel, for example, it's not round, it's flat at the bottom and at the top. And they all come with this center marker that can be had in a different color. You've got these two buttons, this Boost and RS. Boost is when you're in a mode that isn't RS, it gives you maximum performance for 10 seconds from both the engine and the electric motors. RS, of course, lets you shortcut to the RS mode, and lo and behold, they've brought back physical controls on the steering wheel. There are these two roller knobs, and these buttons actually physically click. So I'm happy Audi has listened to feedback and brought those things back. For the RS, they've embellished it with loads of Dinamica or Alcantara suede. This steering wheel has it, the dashboard has it, and it's even on both the armrests. So it gives you that nice sporty, racy feel from behind the wheel. And I particularly love these RS seats that hold me tight in place, are widely adjustable, and even get a massage function. So the RS embellishments do a lot to liven up what is otherwise a pretty ordinary cabin, though that hasn't quite extended to the rear. Now the back seat is nothing to write home about really. It's spacious enough, it's comfortable enough. I'm just under 5'8", that's set to my driving position, and that's why there is so much knee room. Headroom for me too is pretty decent, but I suspect taller passengers won't like it as much. It's not one of those long wheelbase sedans like we have in the luxury segment in India. Although I wish things looked and felt a little bit more special back here. Yes, at the front you have the screens to wow you, but back here there's not a whole lot. This feels and looks very plasticky. A little nicer trim down here would be good. But there you get your USB ports, your AC vents, and your third zone of climate control. And in Europe, the rear seats are heated too. Though this car I'm sitting in doesn't have a sunroof, there is an option for one, as you'll see in the car I'm driving later. It's a large panoramic fixed glass with segmented opacity control, which looks cool, but there's no sunshade, and even here in Austria the cabin got warm pretty quick. Now, one of the biggest prices you pay with a hybrid can be found under here, unfortunately, and that's because the batteries sit under the boot floor and take up a lot of space. Though this is a pretty large car, boot space is only about 331 liters, and that's really not a lot. Now, Audi says previously they used to measure it under the floor, now all cars are measured from the floor, but that just goes to show with those batteries in place, you can't use the underfloor anyway. Though it is quite sizable in practice, it looks like it can take a lot more than the number suggests. And because this is a liftback, yeah, you can stack things a little bit higher than you might in an ordinary sedan. So the hybrid system takes its toll on practicality, but whether this will be a deal breaker for anyone remains to be seen. But for now, it's time to head out into town, because there's one important way hybrid performance cars really excel. Now, of course, this car is not without its shortcomings. A lot of that has to do with the weight of it. But right here, just in everyday driving out on the road, a lot has to be said about how much more usable it's become. I think with every successive generation of RS4, RS5, it gets a little bit more usable. And it's culminated in this to the point where if you're in comfort mode, there really isn't that much separating it from something like an A4 or an A5. In fact, it's even more so because, as I am right now, it can run in electric mode for up to 80 kilometers thanks to its 22 kilowatt hour battery. And here's the thing, in comfort mode or even in balance mode, which is sort of the halfway house between comfort and dynamic, where it constantly moves between engine and electric, in my driving, which has been for about an hour right now, it's just been in electric the entire time. You can coax it really hard with the accelerator and it takes quite a bit for the engine to step in. I've gone uphill, I've sort of belted down an open stretch of highway and it's stayed firmly in electric mode. While that is pretty impressive, this is an RS5 after all, and I almost want the engine to kick in a little bit earlier, but I guess that's what dynamic mode or RS mode is for. And here's the funny thing that I guess you start to realize with a hybrid performance car is that the more you deplete the battery, the less performance you're going to have eventually. So when you get to your destination, you want to have enough battery to have the full performance of the electric motor and the engine together. So I'm constantly finding myself trying to conserve the battery so that I'll always have maximum performance. And that's a weird thing I've never had to experience with other performance cars before. But back to the usability, and my God, is it ever so usable. This car has a quicker steering rack than the standard A5 or S5, and that really shows in how darty the front end is with the slightest maneuver. But also in comfort mode, it's incredibly light, so maneuverability is not a problem at all. It's even relatively refined. I mean, right now there's no engine, of course, I'm running in electric mode. And though the surface is a little bit coarse, and you can kind of feel that with these really fat tires and 21-inch wheels, apart from that, it's pretty hushed. Credit also has to go to the ride quality. Clever twin valve dampers do a much better job of managing rebound and compression to the point that it's a completely different animal depending on which mode you're in. And this remarkable dual nature that you get from a hybrid performance car is something I think a lot of owners will appreciate in everyday use, because a car like this, it's not a sports car or supercar, but it is a sedan, so you're gonna want to use it for ordinary stuff. Several kilometers later though, my mood and the views took quite a turn. I think I can maybe take it out of comfort mode now that we've left city limits and the built up urban area. And when I say we've left city limits, boy have we left them. Dynamic, I think. And the engine has woken up and it's working with the electric motor. Oh, that's a nice sound. And if you're wondering why it's all snowy all of a sudden, that's because we are on the road climbing up to Grossglockner. I don't know if I pronounced that right, probably not, but it is the highest peak in all of Austria. And with the weather all sunny as it is, we couldn't have got a better day to do that. And just what a road this is. Views upon views upon views, my God. Back to the car though, and while putting it in dynamic mode has woken up the V6 engine, it's still relatively friendly to drive. Yes, the steering has picked up some weight, but not too much. And the ride isn't even all that bad. But there is a step above dynamic, and that is RS. Now the gearbox is holding onto gears longer. As a result, things are just a little bit louder more of the time. And yeah, now the car really feels raring to go. And there's a nice dual sound, I don't know if you can hear it, that's coming through the engine as well as an electric motor sound. Now if that isn't a hybrid, I don't know what is. But it really drives home that sensation that two powertrains are at work here to give you maximum performance. I will say though that for all the performance on tap, it should have been louder. the EU emissions regulations really seem to have tightened their grip on this car. And performance, there's a lot of it. The engine may have the same 2.9 litre displacement as before, but it has new turbos and thoroughly revised internals. Power is up from 450 to 510 horsepower, but that's before you factor in the electric motor housed inside the gearbox. The total system output is a staggering 639 horsepower and 825 Newton meters, a full 189 horsepower more than the previous RS5. Audi says it'll do 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds, but frankly, it feels quicker still. And that's despite its biggest handicap. For something that weighs 2.3, almost 2.4 tons, things are very well contained. Fun fact, the weight distribution of this car has actually improved because it's a hybrid. Fast Audis have always been very front heavy in the way the engines are placed. But this one, because there's a battery pack towards the rear, has a 52-48 weight distribution. How about that? What a place, what a place, what a place. This car uses the 8-speed torque converter automatic, and if you think you'll be missing a dual clutch, don't worry about it, because this one has now been advanced to such a level that it's just as good in a performance application as well. Depending on the driving mode you selected, shifts can be either smooth and seamless or punch you in the lower back aggressive. All that being said though, I will say there is a little bit of disconnection, at least compared to the purely ICE versions that went before this. The performance is incredibly strong, but the acceleration does have that sort of electric car EV artificiality to it. And that's a little bit disappointing. We're a long way off from the naturally aspirated V8 from about a decade ago. The turbocharged era came before this, and now in the hybrid era, yes, that connection has slipped away just a little bit further. The car I'm driving has the optional carbon ceramic brakes, and I'm happy to report that unlike some really serious carbon ceramics, these don't feel super grabby and hard to use in slow-moving traffic. They also don't make a huge racket, which is something else that certain carbon ceramic brakes do. That said, however, I did also drive a version without the carbon ceramic brakes, and those do feel a lot more natural and progressive. Fun as it was touring around Austria's highest mountain peaks with the sound of music in my ears, I had to rush back down because Audi Sport had one final test, or should I say treat, in store for us. Yes, a short handling circuit to explore the limits, they said, of this large, heavy, powerful super sedan. But first, a sighting lap with someone who knows his way around this place. Now, I may not know too much about this car, I'm trying to figure it out as we go along. But this is a gentleman who developed it. So let's take it from him. Trying to play it cool, I thought I'd throw in a few interview questions amidst the drifting. And so how much difference is there between dynamic and RS Sport?
There is a difference. For example, the stability control goes into full on and dynamic. Yeah. And RS Sport is more focused on lap time.
Okay.
And on traction, and dynamic is a little bit more floaty, a little bit more oversteer. Yeah.
Okay, so it's mostly a traction control thing. As well, I think a gearbox also is different.
Gearbox is, the shifting is a little bit different.
And they've also added something called torque rear mode. Now, being the home of quattro all-wheel drive, they aren't allowed to call it a drift mode, but you be the judge. And you thought Audi's only understeer, right?
Oh, not really.
So in torque rear mode, how much percentage of the torque is going to the rear?
Maximum 85%.
Maximum 85%.
So the standard grid is 40 to 60, but we can shift up to 85 to the rear, and of course have this 2000 Newton meter of differential torque, which we can split from inside to outside wheel at the rear at any time.
And now that we've seen what the RS5 can do in the hands of a professional, it's time for little old me to have a few quiet laps. Starting with launch control. Oh boy! That is quick. What is going on? Okay. Forget everything about the weight. This is impressive. Oversteer in an Audi, in an Audi that isn't the R8. Holy sh! Got to be. Okay, it's just been a couple of laps, but I can say with absolute certainty that they've figured out the dynamics of this car. It's got an incredibly clever new quattro system that's an evolution of the traditional torsion differential quattro. Still has the torsion differential, but it's got another 8 kilowatt motor in the rear differential whose only job is to split torque left and right as fast and reactively as is mechanically possible. The torsion center diff also remains semi-locked at all times, meaning power delivery when needed can be even more reactive and instantaneous. It is so incredibly agile. I am sliding around the corner. This thing is so playful, and if there's weight, you don't really feel it, not at least in the corners. If there's one place that perhaps this car does feel its weight, it's under braking, because yeah, strong as these carbon ceramic brakes are, I just can't get over this. They are working with a lot of mass, and you can feel that. So yeah, it is heavy, not going to deny that, but a lot of things are heavy. Sumo wrestlers are heavy, rhinos are heavy, but they're also incredibly powerful. And when they have you in their sights, you better get out of the way. Whoever thought this car's greatest talents would be unearthed on a racetrack of all places? The weight, the cushion of electric assistance, it all melts away when you absolutely lean on this car. A track might not be an option for many RS5 customers, but the fact that it remains fun, agile and entertaining even at medium speeds is a testament to the engineering they've put in. That ridiculous electric torque vectoring differential is what you have to thank for this. But unbelievably, it's not even the power that will have you sold on the RS5. Lots of hybrids and EVs can do that these days. It will probably be the looks, because in an age of objectively ugly vehicles that appeal only to a wind tunnel, Audi has stayed its course and delivered an absolute stunner. I didn't expect to love this car. I expected some speed, some tech, some handling, but the smile the RS5 has plastered on my face, the dopamine it's released in my head, is something I haven't felt from an Audi in years. And the best part, you can experience it too, because the RS5 is coming to India. Petrol heads, rejoice. Nice, 911, 911, 911, 911, 911, 911. I mean, I know I'm in a pretty spectacular car myself, but this is, 911, 911, 911, Boxster, Cayman, Walkster, Cayman, 911, 911, 911, 911 GT3 Touring. Tasteful.